I ran into my secretly married wife at a bar. She was holding hands with her first love. I had my date with me. And just 10 minutes earlier, we'd reported our whereabouts to each other. She said she had a meeting. I said I was working late. In front of others, we tacitly pretended not to know each other, smiling politely and shaking hands like strangers. But when we got home that night, she grabbed my arm and gave me a dangerous smile. Having fun out there, huh? Honey. 01. The moment I saw Olivia at the bar, I turned on my heel and tried to leave. But my idiot friend yanked me back and dragged me right in front of her, grinning like a fool. This is the friend I told you about, Olivia. Then he turned to introduce me to her. Leo. Top-notch at what he does. He gave a big thumbs up. If you ever have a project, you should call him. He's ridiculously good at what he does. He kept rambling, but my eyes had already met Olivia's. She was standing there, arm in arm with Mason, but her gaze paused briefly on the hand Sophia and I were holding. Then she gave a half-smile full of irony. I've heard so much about you, she said, reaching out her hand. Didn't expect to see a department director at a bar. I thought someone as busy as you would still be at the office working overtime. As she spoke, she dug her nails into my palm. I flinched and shot back. I thought someone important like you would be in a meeting right now. We stared each other down, tension thick in the air. Then at the same time we let go and looked away. The VIP booth was filled with people from our usual social circle. But Olivia and I had kept our marriage a secret. Aside from our parents, no one else knew. We'd been married for 7 years now, and everyone around us still thought we were single. People were constantly trying to set us up. That guy's Olivia's first love. Didn't expect her to be the old-school true love type. A friend raised his glass and chuckled. Ever since Mason moved overseas 7 years ago, Olivia stayed single. She's just been waiting for him. Eyes on the horizon like some devoted heroine. She's top-tier wife material, wealthy, elegant, and gorgeous. And still didn't cave under pressure from all those rich bachelors chasing her. And now that Mason's back, bam, they're back together. I bet they're getting hitched soon. Better be ready to throw us a wedding party, man. Ha! I lifted my eyes. Under the hazy lights, Mason had his arm around Olivia's shoulder, staring straight at me with a smug little smirk. That was the look of a winner mocking the loser. I looked away and gave a cold, indifferent laugh. People really do forget easily. Back then I'd toss and turn night after night, heart aching like it was being squeezed to death. I honestly thought I'd never get over her. But now? It's so blurry it's almost like remembering someone else's story. No matter who this woman is with, she doesn't stir a single ripple in me anymore. 02. Everyone else there had hung out before, except me and Olivia, so our friends assumed we didn't know each other. This guy's been single forever, one of them said while introducing me. But just recently he finally met someone. He's been acting way more serious than usual. I'm guessing something big's coming up, huh? Sophia smiled and laced her fingers with mine. Her eyes curved into little crescents. I've got 3 months to go until I'm legally old enough to marry, she said brightly. Even in a dim, indulgent place like this, the purity in her gaze stood out. She looked spoiled and bratty at first glance, but her puppy-like eyes were clear and unwavering, like once she decided who she liked, she'd never let go. Something in me shifted. Meeting Sophia had been completely unexpected. Back when I won an award and was invited to give a talk at my alma mater, she wasn't even in my department, just there for extra credit. But as soon as I finished, she was the first one who came running over to stop me. I thought she was a freshman with questions about the talk, so I stopped and looked at her patiently. But she just stared at me like a puppy spotting a bone, and blurted out, "Can I have your number, please?" I was stunned. Sophia didn't look much like Olivia. They were both attractive but in very different ways. Yet in that moment, I saw a glimpse of 22-year-old Olivia in her. Same proud look, same tilt of the chin. "Hey cutie, give me your number." Later Sophia told me the second she saw me, it was like Cupid fired a cannon straight at her heart. She was so dazed she didn't hear a word of my 2-hour talk. Just kept staring at me. I never tried to lie to her. I told her I was already married. It crushed her for a bit, but she came back anyway. "If you divorce her before I hit legal age," she said, staring down at her shoes, "then I'll forgive you." For a moment, I swear I could see floppy puppy ears drooping behind her head. I've got 1 year and 3 months left. Back then, Olivia and I had just had a huge falling out, because I found out she flew overseas to celebrate Mason's birthday. Honestly, I'd always known something was going on between Olivia and Mason. The three of us had gone to the same high school. They were each other's first love. Their families matched in status. They dated passionately and openly. Back then, I was just one of the many guys quietly crushing on Olivia. Nothing special. Olivia and Mason were together from 16 to 22. They broke up after college. Both were stars in their own right. Olivia was spoiled and never backed down from a fight. Their arguments kept getting worse until Mason couldn't take it anymore and left the country in anger. Olivia didn't chase after him. And that was it. They broke up. Later, she saw me playing basketball and asked for my number from the sidelines. I honestly thought she liked me, but I found out later I was just a convenient choice. After Mason left, she felt empty and bored, and I just happened to be there. Everything that happened afterward felt natural. She needed comfort from a heartbreak. Her family was pushing her to settle down, and I, with my decent job and family background, fit the bill. I knew nothing. I was just dumbly in love, thinking I'd found the one. I was so happy thinking she felt the same. Thinking back now, I can only shake my head and laugh bitterly. How stupid was I? 03. Olivia narrowed her eyes, twirling the glass in her fingers, lips curling into a smirk. You're still not married at your age? Don't tell me you're sneaking around behind your wife's back, out here playing with young girls. I glanced over. In the middle of a loud, lively crowd, Olivia was without a doubt the most eye-catching one. Curvy in all the right places, sharp features and almond-shaped eyes lined with a dramatic flick of eyeliner. Time had barely touched her, only adding to her allure. She was lounging lazily on the booth seat in a tight black dress that hugged her curves. The sheer fabric stretched across her chest in an almost exaggerated way, drawing plenty of wandering male gazes from nearby tables. I picked up my drink, took a slow sip, and replied casually, I'm honestly surprised someone your age isn't married yet either. What? Sneaking out behind your husband's back to meet your first love. That line wasn't exactly polite. The whole table went quiet, everyone confused why two people who'd just been introduced were going at it like sworn enemies. A beat later, both of us let out a cold snort and looked away. I couldn't even tell what the hell this round of drinks tasted like. Right in front of me, Olivia and Mason were openly flirting, tossing teasing remarks back and forth. At one point, Mason tilted her chin up and poured a mouthful of amber liquor into her mouth with a deep kiss. The whole table broke into cheers and whistles. When they finished, Olivia wiped the wine from the corner of her lips and shot me a provocative glance. Back then, I probably would have blown a fuse on the spot. But now? I actually smiled, joining the others in cheering. Let's go, do another one. Olivia's smile faltered, her face tightening. You too, someone chimed in laughing. You're the only other one who brought your girl tonight. A few drunk friends raised their glasses toward me and Sophia, nudging and winking. Come on, let's see what our little sister's got. Sophia came from a good family, just as well off as Olivia's, but she'd been raised strict and didn't really hang out in scenes like this. According to her, I was her first love. Her ears slowly turned red. On the other side, Olivia's smile completely disappeared. Her fingers clutched her glass in a death grip. Unlike Olivia, I wasn't the type to put on a show in public. I raised my hand ready to decline, but Sophia leaned in. Her eyes shimmered with a soft glow. She tilted her face up toward me, and for the first time I realized this girl I'd always thought of as a kid wasn't a kid anymore. Her gaze dropped to my lips, her own lips glistening and softly parted. Baby, she whispered. A siren. In that moment, I finally understood what people meant by innocent but seductive. Sophia had always looked fresh-faced, with this lingering sweetness of girlhood. Even though she was 5 feet 6 inches with a killer figure, she always felt like a wide-eyed little sister when she called me baby. But now, with her eyes slightly red from the alcohol and that subtle pull of temptation in her look, I swallowed hard. And facing that face, I couldn't say no. Just as our lips were about to meet, Olivia suddenly shot to her feet. Her face was pale with fury, and her sudden movement knocked over several glasses on the table. The crash of breaking glass made everyone jump. No one could figure out what the hell had just happened. Even I took a step back instinctively. But Sophia only gave a light laugh, her long white arm looping around my neck. And then, with a soft scent of malt and sweetness, her kiss landed gently on my lips. 04. When I got home and flipped on the lights, the first thing I saw was Olivia sitting on the couch with a stormy expression. Honestly, ever since the second half of the night at the bar, she'd been wearing that same sour look, like everyone there owed her $1 million. I ignored her, kicked off my shoes and headed toward the bathroom for a shower. But she piped up behind me, voice laced with sarcasm. Wow, working overtime really means going to the bar now? I shrugged. Didn't you say you had a meeting at the bar too? Touché. She had a slim, elegant cigarette between her fingers that she hadn't even lit. The ash was long, but she didn't bother tapping it, too busy aiming snide remarks at me. Leo, you've really outdone yourself. Taking little girls out clubbing now? Huh. I turned around and frowned. Olivia, you're the one who said we could do our own thing, stay out of each other's business. So what's this attitude now? Don't tell me. Are you jealous? Jealous? Olivia gave a cold laugh and stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray. Don't flatter yourself. I'm just saying this as someone who used to be your wife. Those little girls still wet behind the ears? Not exactly reliable. I rolled my eyes. Well, you're not exactly wet behind the ears anymore. And I haven't seen you being particularly reliable either. With that, I walked into the bathroom and started to undress for a shower. The water had just started flowing when the door suddenly opened. I squinted in surprise, but before I could say anything, a warm, soft body pressed up behind me. I frowned, but Olivia wrapped her arms tightly around my waist. She whispered against my ear. Still think that little kid knows what she's doing? Bet she can't make you feel like I can. In the humid heat of the bathroom, her voice was low and husky. Leo. I let out a cold chuckle, turned and grabbed her waist, reversing our positions. Her eyes were hazy, lips curling into a smug smile as she rose up on tiptoes. Just before her lips touched mine, I shoved her away. Olivia stumbled back, eyes wide. Leo, what the hell is wrong with you? I yanked a towel around my waist, face cold as ice. Get out. Her expression darkened, fury bubbling in her eyes. You seriously can't stand me that much, she snapped. She was standing there in nothing but lace lingerie. And I froze because in my mind I couldn't stop replaying that photo of her and Mason. It was his birthday. I'd gotten into a car accident on my way back from a business meeting. Alone in the hospital bed, bleeding and groggy. And Olivia? She was naked in Mason's bed, covered in hickeys. He'd taken a photo and sent it to me. He didn't say a word. But to me it felt like a thunderclap. Like getting slapped across the face. My ears rang for hours. I clenched my teeth so hard it felt like they'd crack. My stomach twisted into knots. I pointed at the door. I'm saying this one last time, get out. Olivia stood there staring at me for a long moment. Her fists were clenched tight. Her eyes filled with emotions I couldn't even begin to untangle. Finally, without a word, she stormed out and slammed the door behind her. I shut my eyes. The warm water ran down my skin, but it couldn't wash away the cold seeping from my bones. Her touch made my skin crawl. Utterly nauseating. It was 3 years into our marriage when I realized Olivia had never gotten over Mason. Back then, our relationship seemed pretty decent. She was a good wife, beautiful, charming, and passionate in bed. Despite coming from a wealthy family, she didn't act spoiled. After work, she'd come home. She remembered anniversaries, cooked dinner herself, and would lean on the table with a smile, asking, "Do you like it?" Sometimes we fell asleep holding each other, almost like a real loving couple, until that one night during sex, when a bead of sweat dripped from my forehead onto her collarbone, and she moaned, "Mason." It felt like a baseball bat to the skull. My mind went completely blank, like seeing a single cockroach and realizing the whole house must be infested. After that, I kept uncovering more. A contact she refused to delete. Old photos, edges worn from being handled too much. A burner account she used to stalk him. I lost it. We started fighting constantly. I begged, I threatened, I cursed, I tried everything. But it was no use. In the end, Olivia looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you can't take it, then divorce me." That's when it hit me. All those years, the love I thought we had, it was all in my head. Olivia never loved me. Her heart had always belonged to someone else. It didn't matter how long I stayed by her side. I could never compete with the 7 years she had with Mason. I was trapped in that agony for who knows how long. The pain curled inside me like a venomous snake, waiting until midnight to sink its fangs into my heart. The day she flew to the UK for Mason's birthday, I sat by the window and watched the night go by alone. Even now, I still remember that moon. Perfectly round, impossibly bright. And cold. So cold. After that night, I told myself, this is it. I'm done. Olivia's mom had always hated Mason. Their families had bad blood going way back. But she liked me. She'd looked out for me over the years and even scolded Olivia on my behalf. A year ago, her mom got diagnosed with a serious illness. The doctor said with luck, she might have 2 years left. Olivia didn't want to upset her, so we made a deal. We'd wait until her mom passed to finalize the divorce. As compensation, she'd give me 7% of her company's shares. I agreed. Not for the money, but out of gratitude to her mom for everything she'd done for me. Since that day, Olivia and I have each done our own thing. 05. Olivia didn't come home at all the following week. It wasn't until her mother's birthday that we ended up in the same car to visit her. Do me a favor and act normal when we get there. Don't let my mom catch on, Olivia said, one hand on the wheel. And tell that little kitten or puppy of yours not to call. If we screw this up, kiss your 7% share goodbye. I snorted. Worry about yourself. Her face darkened and she went quiet. Her mom lived in a hillside villa, so we drove up a winding road through the trees. But halfway up, her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the screen and answered right away. I turned my head away. A few years back, I used to call Olivia all the time. Newly married, I missed her constantly, but she almost never picked up. Whenever I asked her about it, she said she was busy with work. And like an idiot, I actually believed her. Took me years to understand. If someone really matters to you, you'll always find time for them, no matter how busy you are. If they don't, even with all the time in the world, they still won't bother. Whatever the person on the other end said. Olivia suddenly slammed on the brakes and pulled over. I nearly slammed my head into the windshield. What the hell is your problem? She looked dead serious. Something came up. You go up on your own. My eyes widened. Are you kidding me? We're halfway up a mountain. The least you can do is drop me off. It's Mason. It's urgent. Just get out. She sounded irritated. The seat lifted automatically, and before I could react, she shoved me out. I almost twisted my ankle. Before I could even curse her out properly, the car roared away, leaving a cloud of exhaust behind. Olivia, what the hell is wrong with you? I shouted after her, furious. But she was already gone. Not even a glimpse of the car left in sight. I pulled out my phone, scowling, only to realize there was no signal up here. I stood there for a moment, then clenched my teeth and started walking up the rest of the hill. Olivia's mom may not have treated me like her own son, but she'd always been kind to me. Even though there were chefs and housekeepers in the house, she insisted on cooking for me whenever I visited. She remembered my favorite dishes and would make them just for me. Olivia used to get jealous about it, saying she'd barely eaten her mom's cooking growing up. When her mom first found out Olivia had cheated, she was furious. Even though she was already unwell, she dragged herself into the kitchen, found a rolling pin, and beat Olivia with it. Leo married you to be humiliated like this? What the hell did that Mason guy feed you? Are you out of your mind? Her days were numbered. Every visit could be the last. Olivia might not care, but I couldn't just walk away. The slope was steep, and though I looked fine on most days, my leg never fully recovered from the accident. It didn't take long before pain shot up my knee like fire. Still, I kept climbing. By the time I was close to the top, my leg had gone completely numb. And then my phone finally buzzed. It was a friend who worked at the hospital, one of the few people who knew about my marriage to Olivia. He didn't speak at first. Then slowly, awkwardly, he said, "I just saw your wife at the hospital. She was with a guy. They went into the OB/GYN department." Then he sent me a photo. In it, Olivia stood at the doorway of a hospital room, gently supporting Mason by the arm, her face full of concern. My friend didn't say anything else. Probably didn't know how. Probably didn't want to. I stared at the photo. Then a single raindrop fell on the phone screen. I looked up dazed. It had started to rain. Mountain rain comes fast. Within minutes I was soaked. The cold seeped into my bones. It was too late to turn back. I had no choice but to keep climbing step by painful step. The rain and wind bit at my skin. And out of nowhere, a memory from long ago came rushing back. It was after a late night at high school. I'd seen a group of thugs cornering a girl in our school uniform. She slapped the ringleader, a bleach-blonde punk. He got pissed and punched her in the stomach. She doubled over but still glared at them, stubborn as hell. The others got angry and started hitting her harder. I couldn't just watch. I yelled, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" They ignored me. So I charged in and started swinging. I'd taken some martial arts classes back in the day, and I didn't hold back. I dropped a few of them fast. Then 2 more pulled out baseball bats. One of them swung straight for the girl's head. I didn't even think. Just threw myself in front of her. That swing landed square on my leg. The pain was blinding. I collapsed immediately. They thought I was with her and started hitting me too. It didn't stop until someone called the cops. Sirens finally sent them scattering. I managed to grab her wrist, coughing, and mumbled, "It's okay, don't be scared." The rest is a blur. I woke up in the hospital. The doctors told me my leg was fractured in multiple places and I'd already had surgery. My parents were so worried they brought me home to recover. I'd nearly forgotten all about it, until my car accident years later. The doctor had asked if I'd had prior surgery on my leg. Said the old injury might affect healing. Asked me to get a family member to sign the surgical consent. I called Olivia. She brushed me off, said she had a meeting. So I signed for the surgery myself. The next night, lying alone in that hospital bed, I got the photo from Mason. That's when I realized there was no meeting. It was his birthday. Olivia had gone to celebrate with him. The hospital window was grimy, but I could still see the moon round glowing pale white. So cold. And all of a sudden my chest felt like it was being torn open. The pain spread. From my heart to my stomach to every corner inside me. It sounds dramatic for a man to say his heart hurts. But that night there was no better word for it. While Olivia curled up in Mason's bed, I lay in a hospital alone, awake until morning. And that was the night I finally understood. I didn't want to wait for her anymore. 06. I rang the doorbell of the villa. The housekeeper opened the door and nearly jumped. "Mr. Leo, what happened to you?" I waved her off. "I'm going to shower first." I didn't want Olivia's mom to see me like this. She didn't have much time left. I didn't need to add to her worries. Once I was cleaned up and dressed, I walked into her room. She lay quietly on the bed. Once such a beautiful and graceful woman, she now looked frail, like brittle kindling that could snap in two. Her face was pale and drawn. The sound of the door opening stirred her awake. Her eyes fluttered open, and a faint light flickered in them. "Leo, is that you?" I sat beside her and gently took her hand. "Mom, you look a lot better than last time. You seem more energetic." She coughed a couple of times and forced a smile. Not for long. I didn't respond. Instead, I talked about a few light-hearted things I'd seen lately. But eventually I ran out of things to say, and the room fell quiet. She leaned back against the pillow. The silence stretched between us. I gave her hand a pat. "Mom, you should get some rest. I'll come visit again soon." I stood to leave, but she suddenly stopped me. "Leo divorced Olivia." I froze. "What? She's still tangled up with that man, isn't she?" "No," I forced a smile. "Mom, don't overthink it. Leo, your eyes don't smile anymore." She looked at me carefully, then pointed to her mouth. "Your mouth is smiling." She tapped her chest. "But not here. You're not happy." Even though she had to pause just to catch her breath, she still finished what she needed to say. I couldn't say a word. "Don't force yourself to keep this up for me. You're still young." She tried to smile. "Divorce her. Go live your life." I don't know why, but as a 30-year-old man, my eyes started to sting. She patted my hand gently. "You're a good man, Leo. Don't waste yourself for someone like me." "Mom." My throat tightened. I couldn't say anything else. She just smiled softly. "You coming to visit me? That already makes me so happy." Then she reached into a drawer and pulled out a file folder with effort. There's 13% of my company's shares in here. Olivia has wronged you too much. Consider this my way of making it up to you on her behalf. She pushed the folder into my hands. You must take it. And take care of yourself. I was stunned and quickly tried to refuse. Mom, I can't take this. But she just smiled and gently brushed my hair back. Stop putting yourself last. 07. That night I didn't go home. I went straight to Sophia's place. She looked so happy to see me, but the moment she grabbed my hand, her expression changed. You're burning up. I touched my forehead and only then realized I had a fever. Sophia helped me into bed, tucked me in, then came back with a mug of steaming ginger tea. She gently lifted me up. Drink some. It'll help you sweat it out. Then she slipped under the covers and wrapped her arms around me. I frowned. You'll catch it too. She kissed my cheek affectionately. I'm not afraid. Then she opened her phone. Bored? Want me to tell you a story? I gave a weak laugh. A grown man like me, listening to bedtime stories? Sophia ignored me, curled against my side and cleared her throat. Once upon a time there was a princess. Her skin was white as snow, her hair black as ebony, her lips red as blood, but her heart was dark as coal. So they called her the black-hearted princess. The prince kissed her, and she coughed up the poisoned apple. So she came back to life. Then the prince and princess got married. I thought the story was over and was about to close my eyes, but Sophia kept going. But after the wedding, the prince found out the black-hearted princess was a serial cheater. She treated him terribly. So the prince stuffed the poisoned apple back in her mouth, let her choke on it, and married a new princess, one who was younger, prettier, and actually loved him. And they lived happily ever after. I couldn't help but laugh. What kind of messed up fairy tale is that? Sophia shot me a sideways glance, smirking as her small hand patted my chest gently. The night breeze rustled the sheer curtains, and the faint scent of gardenias drifted in from the roadside. Every now and then, the quiet hum of a passing car blurred softly behind the veil. Sophia's body was warm. Her arms wrapped tightly around my neck and wouldn't let go, like a child clinging to her most precious treasure. Felt strange and yet comforting. She was so much younger than me, yet in that moment she made me feel safe. Right before I drifted off to sleep, I heard a soft whisper by my ear. Hurry up and divorce her. The princess can't wait much longer. 08. Early the next morning I headed home. Olivia was sitting on the couch. The moment she saw me, she frowned out of habit. Where were you last night? I called and you didn't answer. I'd fallen asleep at Sophia's place, and my phone had been on silent. When I checked it, there were 3 missed calls from Olivia. I said flatly, none of your business. Her eyes darkened, and she quickly tried to justify herself. Mason wasn't feeling well. He hasn't been in great health for a while. No need to explain, I said while changing into my slippers. I'm not interested. There was a time I was desperate to know her every move, every interaction she had with Mason. Now I didn't even care to listen. I'm here for the divorce. I tossed the divorce papers onto the table. Your mom already knows about us. She transferred her shares to me. You can keep your 7%. I want to finalize this ASAP. Otherwise, I'll file a claim in court with the evidence of your affair. I still have that photo Mason sent me. Olivia was stunned. I'd kept that photo all this time, to remind myself of the humiliation. Each time I looked at it, I loved her a little less, until there was nothing left. I thought we agreed not to get divorced just yet, she frowned. Leo, you're really in such a hurry to be with that girl? She scoffed. You really think she's going to be that much better than me? You two have a big age gap. What can you even talk about? You think 10 years from now, your relationship will still be the same. She shook her head, face twisted in scorn. Leo, you're as naive as ever. I turned and looked at her. This was the same woman I'd once joyfully married. Now she just looked ugly to me inside and out. Still better than someone who cheats like it's nothing, I said coldly. Seriously, Olivia. How shameless do you have to be to ruin someone else's life and act like it's no big deal? She froze, speechless. Other people's lives don't matter to you, huh? You think the whole world's just background noise for your messed up drama. I walked up to her, locked eyes with her, and said, "Do people know Mason's seeing a married woman? Do they know he's dating someone who already broke her vows?" Olivia suddenly stood up. "Don't talk like that. What you two did is worse than anything I've said," I sneered. "You think I enjoy wasting my breath on you? Sign the papers. We go our separate ways. If you want to light incense and worship Mason at your family altar, I won't stop you." Her gaze turned icy. Then slowly her lips curled into a cold, hollow smile. "Fine. You said it. Leo, don't come crawling back." I chuckled and handed her a pen. "Hurry up." With a grim face, she glared at me one last time, gritted her teeth and scribbled her name. Then she shoved the documents at me. "There. Happy now?" I nodded. "The courthouse opens tomorrow. 9 sharp. Be there." 09. On the final day of our marriage, the moment Olivia signed her name, I already felt lighter. I couldn't wait to tell Sophia. She was thrilled. "Wait, are you for real? I'm going to the courthouse with you tomorrow. Let's get our marriage certificate at the same time. Save you another trip. I'll go home and grab my documents now." It took some serious convincing to stop her from running off. She finally agreed to wait until we'd met each other's parents. Later that day, we attended the wedding of a mutual friend. Even though Olivia and I arrived in separate cars, we still ended up at the same table. I acted like she wasn't there. She picked a dish off the table and placed it into Mason's plate with a gentle voice. "Eat more." Then barely noticeably, she glanced at me. Mason looked a little uncomfortable. "Olivia, you know I don't eat seafood." A friend at the table quickly tried to lighten the mood. "You two finally found your way back to each other. Is there a wedding coming up? Let us know, we'll all come celebrate." Olivia didn't respond. Mason smiled stiffly and looked at me. "Yeah. Make sure you're all there when the day comes." Someone else chuckled. "Man, you two really lasted from high school till now." I remember back then some punk tried to chase after Olivia, and when she turned him down, he tried to block her after school. "Mason, didn't you save her that time? Guess it really is saved her once married for life." "Huh." Mason's face tightened. He forced a chuckle and tried to change the subject. "Let's not bring up the past. That's not the reason we're together anyway." But Olivia cut in. "Actually, that's exactly how it started." Mason's expression turned even more awkward. I lifted my gaze. "So that's part of their backstory, huh?" Still didn't interest me. I looked away. "Funny coincidence," another friend said, turning to me. "Leo saved a girl back in the day too. I heard 5 or 6 guys were messing with her, and when she fought back they started beating her with bats. Leo jumped in and got hit pretty bad. If he hadn't stepped in, she might not even be alive now," he added. "Leo ended up taking half a year off school and even had to transfer. That hit was brutal. His leg's still not the same. And the girl never even thanked him." He stopped short, glancing at me. I didn't mind. It had been years. I never did it expecting thanks. But Olivia's face changed instantly. She suddenly stood up, knocking over plates and glasses. Red wine spilled down her dress, but she didn't even flinch. Her eyes locked onto mine, trembling. "What did you say?" Panic flickered in Mason's eyes. He quickly got up and grabbed her hand. "Olivia, your dress is stained. Come on, let's go get you changed." But Olivia jerked her hand away. She bit her lip and stared at me. "Leo, what day did that happen?" "The day you saved that girl." I didn't understand why she was reacting like this. People around us had started watching. I didn't want to ruin someone else's wedding, so I tried to remember and frowned. Not sure of the exact date. Summer of 2014, I think. Maybe August? "Now sit down. This is someone's big day." Olivia's face shifted strangely. A mix of disbelief and fear. "What did you say to her at the end?" Even though it was so long ago, the pain from that day had etched it into my memory. I still remembered what I'd whispered. "Don't be afraid." "Yeah, I think that's what I said." Olivia slowly sank back into her chair. Her face looked like she was about to cry, or maybe laugh. Then she covered her face with both hands. Mason was pale as a sheet, his body trembling. At that point, even the most clueless person could piece it together. I raised an eyebrow. "So that girl who got beat up like hell was you?" I smiled lazily. "What a shame." If I'd known it was you, I would have let them finish the job. 10. I left the table right after I said it. Everything else I heard later that night from a friend. Turns out, after you saved Olivia back then, she actually went looking for you everywhere. But Mason was there that night too. He liked her, so he stepped in and pretended he was the one who saved her. You didn't see Olivia's face just now, it was terrifying. She sent me a video. In the clip, Mason looked absolutely wrecked, his voice shaking with tension. Yes, I admit I lied to you back then, but does that mean everything between us all these years was fake? You said you only loved me. Sure, Leo saved you, but you never loved him. And now just because you found out he saved you, suddenly you love him? Olivia's face was cold as ice. Her eyes, once full of affection for Mason, now looked like she was staring at someone who had destroyed her entire world. She shoved him away with force, her voice cutting like broken glass. Mason, this isn't over. My friend sent a few laughing emojis. Mason's screwed. Word is his dad has an illegitimate son, and all the inheritance is going to that guy. Mason came back hoping to cling to Olivia for support. But she cut off all his cards, took back the house and the car. From what I heard, she's not done yet. I put down the phone, emotions swirling. I didn't feel quite as calm as I pretended. It really was one hell of a mess. Because Mason stole credit for something I did, Olivia fell for him. And because of that, she hurt me. Of the three of us in this story, I was the only one who truly lost everything. Do I hate them? I asked myself. I still couldn't fully use my leg because of that night I tried to save her. And in return she wrecked my marriage. How could I not hate her? If I could go back to that alley 10 years ago, I swear I wouldn't save her again. Olivia came home late that night. She reeked of alcohol, completely wasted. I reminded her, don't forget we're finalizing the divorce tomorrow. But she ignored it, slurring as she collapsed on the couch. I'm done with Mason. He lied to me. I pulled the funding. His family's falling apart. He has nothing left now. Are you satisfied? I let out a cold laugh. And what about you? Aren't you even worse than him? Olivia was stunned. Then all of a sudden she dropped to her knees in front of me. I jumped back in shock, but then she raised her hand and slapped herself hard. The crack echoed through the room. Her lips split, blood rising at the corner of her mouth. What the hell are you doing? I stared at her in disbelief. She looked up at me, eyes filled with desperate pleading. I know I messed up. You can hit me, scream at me, whatever you want. Leo, I'll make it right. I still own 42% of the company. I'll give it all to you, okay? Just please forgive me. She buried her head, her shoulders trembling. The room was dead silent except for her muffled sobs. Like a stray animal abandoned in the rain. I had no words. Years ago, my parents wanted to call the police about what happened in that alley. But later we found out those punks had already been dealt with. 3 of them got their tendons slashed. Some went insane. My parents dropped the idea of reporting it. They didn't want me dragged through the process again. So I never saw Olivia again after that night. And Mason wasn't wrong about one thing. Just because she found out it was me who saved her, doesn't mean she'd love me. Maybe, even without the misunderstanding, she still would have chosen Mason. It didn't matter anymore. Not now. Just keeping your promise to get divorced is the best apology you can give me, I said coldly. No. Olivia crawled over and clung to my leg in panic. I don't want to divorce you. It was my fault. I'll make it up to you. I swear I won't see any other man again. It's really over between me and Mason, I beg you. I never expected things to take this kind of turn. I couldn't help but snap. You went with Mason to the OBGYN clinic. What, are you pregnant? You really expect me to raise someone else's kid? Tears poured from Olivia's eyes. Gone was the proud, untouchable woman I once knew. Now she was just a broken mess. There's no baby. He wasn't feeling well. He said that night messed him up. I've always felt guilty for that, so I went to be there for him. The OBGYN thing, my friend needed meds, I was just picking them up for her. Maybe it was the alcohol talking, but she seemed more honest than ever. Her lips parted, her voice cracked and raw. I do like you. But I always felt like I owed Mason something. So whatever he asked, I just said yes. When you brought up divorce, my first instinct was to say no. Leo, I've actually liked why. I lost it. I slapped her hard across the face. She gasped and turned her head, stunned. Olivia, don't insult the word love. You disgust me. I said coldly. If I had known it would come to this, I would have left you to die in that alley. Her face went ghost white. She stared at me like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. I grabbed the divorce papers and walked out the door, slamming it behind me. 11. The next day, just as I expected, Olivia ghosted me. She never showed up at the courthouse. She blew up my phone with calls over and over again saying the same thing. She'd compensate me, but she wasn't agreeing to a divorce. I was livid. After wasting so many years of my life, just when I was finally about to move on and start fresh, she was still trying to hold me back. Well, if she wanted to play dirty, I could play dirtier. I took the 13% of the company shares her mom had given me and sold them to the second largest shareholder. That woman had already owned 32%. Now with 45%, she outranked Olivia and officially kicked her out of her position as chairwoman. Years of Olivia's hard work gone in a day. She called me right away. Her voice sounded soft, maybe even hurt. Leo, do you really hate me that much? I'm done being tangled up in your mess, I said coldly. She was quiet for a long time, then finally whispered, do whatever you want. As long as it makes you happy. I missed my chance with you once. I can't afford to miss it again. I could have slammed my head against the wall. I ended up filing a lawsuit against Olivia, submitting the evidence of her affair with Mason. Filed twice, and whether she agrees or not, the divorce becomes mandatory. Got ugly. Because of the share transfers and asset division, the whole company knew we were getting divorced. I was swamped every day. Barely even had time to see Sophia anymore. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, Olivia called again while I was up late sorting financial documents. Her voice on the phone was shaking badly. Leo, please come. My mom. She's not going to make it. By the time I got there, Olivia's mom had regained consciousness. She was pale and weak, her breathing shallow. I lowered my head, awkward and ashamed. She had given me those shares, and I'd turned around and sold them to the person who took everything from her daughter. It was harsh. But she didn't blame me. She simply lifted a trembling hand, barely able to move it. I walked over, my eyes stinging. Mom! Olivia was already crying uncontrollably, clutching her mother's hand, sobbing. Everyone has to face this day eventually, her mom said weakly, trying to smile as she patted Olivia's hand. Don't be sad. Her voice grew fainter, but she pushed herself to keep going. Olivia, I heard you're refusing the divorce. Olivia wiped her tears. Mom, Mason lied to me. I just found out it was Leo who saved me back then. I can't lose him again. Her mom sighed. Leo's always been good to you. From the day you got married, he was devoted. Even after you ran around with other men, he waited, hoping you'd come back. And now you know it was him who saved you. She closed her eyes. Olivia panicked. Mom? Mom, don't scare me. Please wake up. Her mother slowly opened her eyes again, using the last of her strength to speak. Just grant me this one last wish. Promise me. Olivia nodded frantically, tears pouring down her face. Tell me, Mom. I promise I'll do anything. Divorce Leo. She gripped Olivia's hand tightly. You two just weren't meant to be. Stop holding him back. He's a good man. I stood there, overwhelmed with emotion. I never thought her mom, even at the very end, would still be looking out for me. Olivia froze. Then slowly she sank to the floor beside the bed. Her fingers had gone white from clenching so tightly. The skin around her nails split and bled. Eventually, she withdrew her hand, covered her face, and broke into uncontrollable sobs, low, hoarse, and agonizing. Okay, she whispered. Mom, I'll do it. I'll sign the divorce. Her mother's hand went still, then dropped. 12. It was days later when we finally finished all the funeral arrangements. Olivia and I met at the courthouse. She'd lost weight. The wind blew straight through her. Her clothes hung off her like they didn't fit anymore. Do we really have to do this? Just before we stepped inside, she turned and clutched the divorce papers. You loved me so much. And now I know I was wrong. Can't we just start over? Her expression was humble, almost desperate. You can punish me however you want.
Hateme hurtme iltakeit.
Just don't leave me, please? She covered her face, breaking down. I don't care if you're with that other woman. I don't care what you do out there. As long as you come home to me, it's enough. I looked off into the distance, then after a pause I said, Olivia, do you even know who you really love? Is it me? Mason? Or just the shadow of the person who saved you all those years ago? If Mason had never lied, and you ran into him again, you would have still fallen for him, wouldn't you? She rushed to say, No, of course not. I smiled sadly and shook my head. It doesn't matter anymore. If there's even a shred of gratitude in you for everything I did, then please just let me go. Olivia, I mean it. I don't love you anymore. The wind ruffled her bangs. I saw tears forming in her eyes. Then she forced a smile, messy and heartbroken. Okay, she whispered. Leo, I'll let you go. By then, her voice was strained and weak, every word seeming harder to say than the last. The house, the car, the stocks, the bank account, they're all yours. I'll walk away with nothing. She handed me a new agreement. Think of it as my compensation. If you don't want me, then take the money. I glanced through the papers and froze. It wasn't just the marital assets. Olivia had given me everything. All her company shares, 42%. Every asset, every property, every cent. I didn't want to be connected to her anymore. I shook my head. No. She let out a hollow laugh. If you won't take it, then I won't sign. I had no choice. So I signed my name. I didn't ask what she planned to do after. It didn't matter anymore. She wasn't my responsibility. Divorce is faster than marriage. In just a few minutes, we had that little green certificate in hand. As we walked out, Olivia stared at me with unreadable eyes. I raised a hand. Goodbye. She didn't respond. I got into my Bentley and drove off. In the rearview mirror, I saw her still standing there, motionless. She seemed to say something, but I couldn't hear it anymore. Traffic slowly swallowed her up. Our worlds had finally split. Out of sight. I looked forward again. Goodbye, Olivia. I hope we never meet again. Extra Olivia's perspective. 2 years after divorcing Leo, I ran into him at a bridal boutique. I was there to pick up a wedding dress for my cousin. I turned to leave, and then saw a woman stepping out of the fitting room with a gown lifted in her hands. Leo was looking at her with such softness in his eyes, I could practically feel the warmth radiating off of him. I froze in place, staring at him. It had been a long time. He looked good. Much better than before. The woman spun around in the dress, then skipped over to him with bright, sparkling eyes. How do I look? He smiled, eyes full of light, and said gently, Beautiful. Out of nowhere, I remembered a moment from many years ago. Back when we just gotten our marriage license, he had pulled me to the mirror, just as excited, showing me wedding gowns. What was my reaction back then? I think my mind was full of Mason. I barely looked up, impatient. They all look fine. Just pick one. Right before we left the store, I caught a glimpse of him in my peripheral vision. He was just standing there, shoulders slumped, the smile gone from his lips. He looked a little lonely. A tight sting crept through my chest. Now, watching him lift his phone to snap a photo of that woman, watching him wave her over to show her, foreheads nearly touching as they whispered back and forth. I think this one makes my arms look a little big. Do you like it? This one? I think the third one looked best, the one from Paris. I asked the clerk earlier and she said all the embroidery and beading were done by hand. Now that you say that, I guess the third one really was better. No rush. Try a few more if you want. We'll put this one on hold for now, okay? She treats him better than I ever did. I should be happy for him. But I don't know why suddenly my eyes burned. My throat closed like something was lodged there, making it hard to breathe. He was supposed to be mine. I'm the one who lost him. And now someone else gets to enjoy the happiness I threw away. In these 2 years without Leo, I finally realized how much I couldn't let him go. Not a single day passed without me thinking about him. When I drank too much, I'd see him in my dreams. Not the version from our bitter final days, but the man he was when we first got married. He used to cook my favorite dishes before I got home, rub my feet at night just because I said they hurt, refused to leave in the morning until he got a goodbye kiss. Back then I didn't feel lucky. Sometimes I even found him annoying. But in my dreams I cried from how happy I felt. And every morning after, I'd wake to an empty bed, the silence so sharp it made me feel like I might go insane. That's when I started drinking too much. Because when I was drunk I could see him again. The version of him who still loved me. I know it's pathetic, but I couldn't help it. I kept replaying our memories, falling for him all over again every time I did, until I was stuck in them, completely unable to get out. God, how foolish. Why is it that I only realized how much I loved him after he was gone? I don't know how long I stood there watching. I just know I couldn't look away. Even if he'd moved on, even if he loved someone else now, even if every glance was another dagger, I still couldn't look away. Soon the woman picked a dress. She looped her arm through his, and they headed for the exit. He happened to glance up and saw me. He froze. The woman looked too. That's when I realized. She was that same young girl he dated after me. Except now she'd grown into a woman. The innocence had been replaced by quiet confidence. He greeted me with a flat, distant voice. Long time no see. My voice shook like a leaf. I could barely get the words out. Yeah, long time. I wanted to say more. Ask how he'd been. Ask if she made him happier than I did. Ask if maybe if she didn't would he ever consider coming back? But in the end I said nothing. He gave me a small wave, clearly not interested in talking, and pulled her out the door. As they walked off I could still hear her asking, "That was your ex-wife? She looks so different now." I almost didn't recognize her. He replied flat as ever, "Someone who doesn't matter. No need to recognize her." They got into a car. The engine revved and they were gone. I stood there watching the taillights disappear down the street. I remember, when we got divorced it was like this too. Me watching him leave. Only this time it was a goodbye for good. He seemed happy. That's good. And me? Maybe I'll never be happy again. But it's okay. As long as he is. Leo, I wish you happiness. And this time, I really mean it.